Roll call, Jenny.
Very good. All right. Commissioner Beach.
Present.
Commissioner Freeman.
I am here today.
Commissioner Harnden.
Here, if you can hear me.
We can.
Okay.
Commissioner Harris.
Present.
Commissioner Lehman.
I'm here.
There you are. Commissioner McPherson.
I'm here.
Commissioner Miller.
Here.
Commissioner Norton.
I'm here.
Commissioner Perosa.
Present.
Chair Solomon.
Here.
And Rep. Przonski or Senator Przonski. And Representative Lewis. So Paul, it looks like we've got everybody here. We do have quorum, and we also do not have any requests for public comment or written comment today.
Okay, great. Well, then we can jump right in with the first item on the agenda, which is the Oregon Innovation Intervention Fund grant award decisions. And I believe Danielle is going to walk us through those, and you should have received materials in the packet.
There we go. Unmuted now.
Mhm.
Just getting started. Good afternoon, Chair Solomon and Commissioners. For the record, my name is Danielle Topinski, and I am the Federal Grants Coordinator for CJC. Today, I'm going to be talking to you about the application review outcome and funding recommendations that are associated with the 2026 Oregon Innovation and Intervention Fund, OIIF/Burn Jag solicitation. Gerardo Avila-Leon, CJC's Budget and Finance Manager, is also on hand to assist with any questions that you may have. Today's objective is to review and determine whether to authorize the Application Review Committee's recommended subaward funding for the competitive 2026 OIIF Burn Jag Grant Program. You may choose to authorize the Review Committee's recommendation or decline it, and return all or specific applications to the committee for further evaluation based on the reasons that you specify. First, some key points regarding the solicitation, which was presented to the Commission at last November's meeting and is also included for reference in the Google OneDrive. In CJC's first Burn Jag subaward solicitation, there was $3,030,661 available to award. When the solicitation opened up on December 8th, the original amount available was $1.5 million of JAG 24 funds. But then another $1.53 million of JAG 23 funding was added when a one-year no-cost extension to CJC's JAG 23 award was approved in January by the Bureau of Justice Assistance, which is the federal JAG program's administering agency. And in addition to amending the amount available, the revised solicitation extended the application deadline from February 13th to March 15th. So the following federal requirements were incorporated into the solicitation. To start, all project activities had to be completed by September 30th, 2027, which is the end date of the JAG 23 and 24 federal awards. The next, each fiscal year has two mandatory allocation requirements as stipulated in the federal award conditions. The first is the variable pass-through, or VPT, which requires a prescribed minimum amount that must be directly passed through to local government agencies. The total VPT requirement for JAG 23 and 24 that needed to be met through the solicitation is a little over $2.25 million. And then second, states must also ensure that a certain amount of funding benefits the smaller counties and cities that are included on BJA's local less than 10,000 lists. The FY23 requirement has already actually been met through a recently signed JAG 23 supported subaward, which leaves only the JAG 24 requirement of 308,951 as needing to be addressed in this solicitation. The VPT and local less than 10K requirements are distinct, which means that the dollars or specific amount used for one requirement can't be used for the other. And then finally, of course, all subawards are ultimately subject to BJA approval via a federal grant award modification or GAM. As part of this review process, BJA ensures that proposed subaward activities are one, relevant to at least one of the BJA JAG program areas, and two, also adhere to the federal cost principles of allowability, allocability, and reasonableness, as well as BJA's approved budget format and maximum cost thresholds. So the eligible focus areas for the OIF Burn JAG grant program, as presented last November, are listed in this slide. At a minimum, applications had to address at least one of the BJA JAG program areas to be eligible for consideration. And then those applications that addressed at least one of the two priorities or four goals listed in Oregon's CJC JAG 2025 to 2029 strategic plan received preference and additional weight in scoring. The two priorities are: one, addressing substance use disorders and mental health needs for justice-involved individuals, and two, improving criminal justice decision-making to emphasize data-driven decisions and evidence-informed practices. Some of the key solicitation parameters were: only one application was allowed per federal unique entity identifier or UEI. The funding request amount was restricted to a minimum of $150,000 and a max of $400,000, a range that was based on the historical unsolicited request to CJC for JAG funding. And then finally, specifically identifying one or more of the jurisdictions listed on either the FY23 or 24 local less than 10K lists was obligatory for the application to be considered less than 10K eligible. It's also important to note that the solicitation stated that addressing CJC JAG priorities will be given preference, but final selection will be determined through the consideration of all criteria. So at the close of the solicitation period on March 15th, a total of 33 applications were received. For reference, all applications in their entirety have been uploaded into the Google OneDrive, and a project summary document is included as Appendix B in this presentation's meeting materials. So the total amount requested was almost 9.9 million, which was well over the 3.03 million that was available. The solicitation was successful in meeting both fiscal year VPT and local less than 10K requirements, as 24 of the applications addressed at least one requirement and 15 of those 24 addressed both. And it was also successful in that smaller cities and counties were reached, shown by the submittal of 9 applications from listed local less than 10K jurisdictions. Next, the review criteria listed in the solicitation was incorporated into a 5-section scoring rubric that was used to evaluate the applications. And again, this rubric template has been included on the Google OneDrive for reference. The sections consisted of the statement of the problem, program design and implementation, organizational capabilities and experience, performance indicators and data collection plan, and the budget detailed worksheet and budget narrative. And I want to highlight that the addressing of the CJC JAG strategic plan was part of the statement of problem section. and was scored at 2 points per priority, 1 point per goal, and 0 to 5 points for quality of response. So there's a detailed description of the application review process, which can be found as Appendix C in the presentation's meeting materials. But to summarize quickly here, for Phase 1, 5 CJC staff members met to discuss the scoring rubric, the review parameters, and the eligibility criteria, of which included adherence to the application format, word limits, and 100% allocability to a JAG program area. In addition, applications that requested support for the continuation of past or existing CJC JAG funded projects were deemed ineligible. Phase 2 consisted of group scoring and combining individual scores into a final averaged percentage ranking. And then Phase 3 was the meeting of BJA allocation requirements and the final selection of applications for funding. Okay, so here are the results of the analysis that staff carried out. And these final results are included as the revised Appendix A in the Google OneDrive. Please note that that the Appendix A version that was originally sent to you a couple of weeks ago was revised late last week to account for the fulfillment of the JAG 23 less than 10K requirement that was met through a recently signed JAG 23 supported subaward. So this table, recently revised, does reflect the incorporation of that requirement. And this table is uploaded to the Google OneDrive as of yesterday. So this table includes the ranking of each application, whether the application addressed VPT, local less than 10K, and the CJC JAG strategic plan. And then in the next column, we have the requested funding amount. And then finally, we have staff recommendations in up to amounts. And staff included an up to qualifier to account for any expected budget decreases that are realized during the BJA GAM preparation phase. So out of the 33 applications received, 6 were deemed ineligible, and the other 27 were ranked according to percentage. Staff found that 25 of the 27 applications addressed at least one CJC JAG priority or goal. So staff worked their way down through the highest ranked applications to first satisfy the mandatory allocation requirements. And then once those requirements were met, staff continued to select the next highest ranking until the remainder of the available 3.03 million was allocated as fully as possible, which actually left an unallocated amount of $39,330. So this revised table, which is also included in the revised Appendix A, not the original, shows the breakdown of the VPT and local less than 10K fiscal year designations. So first we have step 1, which is the meeting of the JAG 23 and 24 VPT requirements with the top 6 ranked applications that were VPT eligible. And then next in step 2, the JAG 24 less than 10K requirement was met with the next highest ranked applications that were less than 10K eligible. And then finally, in step 3, when all BJA allocation requirements were met, the next highest ranked applications, regardless of VPT or less than 10K eligibility, were selected to fully allocate the total funding available under this solicitation. So with this funding recommendation, all VPT and local less than 10K BJA requirements are met for CJC's JAG 23 and 24 federal awards. And that's all I have, but on this slide is proposed motion language that staff has developed for your use should you choose to authorize the 2026 OIIF Burn JAG funding as shown in the Staff Review Committee's revised recommended funding table in the revised Appendix A. And I thank you for your time. And now I'd like to open up the presentation for any questions that you have.
Super. Thank you, Danielle. I personally am really excited about this solicitation at a time when we're experiencing contraction in federal funding and other parts of state government to be able to continue to use these burn JAG funds in innovative ways, I think is exciting, and based on the breadth of applications that we received and the different types of programs that are being recommended for awards, I think there are some really exciting projects. So want to open it up for discussion, questions for Danielle? Commissioner Miller.
Thank you, Chair. And Danielle, thank you for the materials and the presentation because it was really easy to follow. So thank you. My question is just an uninformed one as I try to understand the lay of the land of the CJC and how these processes work. I'm curious, sometimes it seems like for grants, when there are requests that are greater than the funds allowed, right, there will be a proportional reduction in terms of what's awarded. In this case, right, you made the recommendation is just to stop. And I'm just curious about when one is selected versus the other, or how did you come to that conclusion in this one?
So how were these selected, or how were the amounts selected?
I guess maybe how were the amounts selected? Like, why was there not a proportional reduction of some type?
He just left. He's got hearing test in Portland. And then he's out for the rest of the week.
Someone else.
So was that a comment for?
No, go ahead.
Oh, okay, great. Commissioner Miller, so what happens with the federally funded? We don't do proportional reductions. First of all, we don't reach out to the applicants right away. What we're really concerned with is the allocability. There's certain things that are proposed. Some of them are minor, then some of them are not so minor. That BJA can't fund due to federal grant regulations. And so those will be pulled out. And then there's just some other things that might not, there might be travel. There's a number of different requirements, travel restrictions, or GSA rates, they might not be adhered to, things like that. There's maximum cost thresholds. So all of that is taken into consideration. So we don't, at this point in the process with federal grants, we don't really do the reductions until after we have a chance to meet with the applicants to go thoroughly through their budgets and to make those adjustments at that time.
Thank you. That's helpful. I appreciate it.
That answers your question. Great.
Other questions for Danielle? All right, well, we have motion language. I am going to declare a conflict of interest on the Lane Council of Governments application. So I would like us to pull that one out separately. I don't know if any other commissioners have conflicts, but if you do, now would be the time to acknowledge them so that we can vote on them separately. So if we can bring this back up, Commissioner Lehman, I see your hands up. You're muted.
Sorry, my keyboard mute is not working. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm just going to, out of abundance of caution, ask that the Jackson County be pulled. The conflict would be my spouse, who does work in Jackson County and may have been consulted on this. So I just want to be careful about that.
Jackson County. Jackson County isn't on the recommendation. I believe it was on the former one. It was before
Oh,
we
that's
were
right.
able.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
That's right.
so there
Sorry.
shouldn't be an
Okay.
issue there for you, Commissioner.
Yes. Yeah, thank you. Sorry.
Sure.
All right, Commissioner Perosa.
Yeah, and I would also ask to be, I'm going to declare a conflict with the Lane County Sheriff's Office program, as well as the Lane County of Government, or Council of Governments one.
Great. Okay, so any other conflicts? All right, let's start, can you bring back the motion language again, Danielle?
Absolutely.
All right, so let's vote on the Lane Council of Government application first. Then we can do the Lane County Sheriff's Office second, and then we can do the remainder third. So is there someone willing to make a motion to approve funding for the 26 Oregon Innovation Fund grant award for Lane Council of Governments?
Commissioner Harden,
This is
I'll make a
Commissioner-
motion.
I'll second. Commissioner Lehman.
All right, so we have a motion made by Commissioner Harden, seconded by Commissioner Lehman. Jenny, roll call, please.
First, Commissioner Beach,
Yes.
Commissioner Freeman,
Yes.
Commissioner Harnden,
Yes.
Commissioner Harris,
Yes.
Commissioner Lehman,
Yes.
Commissioner McPherson,
Yes.
Commissioner Norton,
Yes.
Commissioner Perosa, and Chair Solomon, you will be abstaining from this vote, correct?
Yes.
Yes, that's correct. And just to be clear, I will be working as a consultant with Third Sector, which is one of the sub-awardees in the grant. All right, so that carries. Let's do the Lane County Sheriff's Office Award. Is there someone willing to make a motion to approve the 26 Oregon Innovation Intervention Fund award to the Lane County Sheriff's Office?
This is Commissioner Beach. So moved.
I'll
second
Commissioner Harris.
All right, so we have a motion made by Commissioner Beach, seconded by Commissioner Harris. Roll call, please, Jenny.
Commissioner Beach,
Yes.
Commissioner Freeman,
Yes.
Commissioner Harnden,
Yes.
Commissioner Harris,
Yes.
Commissioner Lehman,
Yes.
Commissioner McPherson,
Yes.
Commissioner Norton,
Yes.
and Commissioner Perosa, you will be abstaining, correct?
Yes.
And Chair Solomon.
Yes. All right, for the remainder of the applicants that staff are recommending funding for, is there someone willing to make a motion to authorize funding for those organizations for the 2026 Oregon Innovation Intervention Fund grant?
Commissioner Norton approved or moves.
Is there a second?
This is Commissioner Lehman. I'll second.
All right, motion made by Commissioner Norton, seconded by Commissioner Lehman. Jenny, roll call, please.
Commissioner Beach,
Yes.
Commissioner Freeman,
Yes.
Commissioner Harnden,
Yes.
Commissioner Harris,
Yes.
Commissioner Lehman,
Yes.
Commissioner McPherson,
Yes.
Commissioner Norton,
Yes.
Commissioner Perosa,
Yes.
and Chair Solomon.
Yes. All right. Thank you, Danielle.
Sure.
Exciting project. Look
It's
forward
exciting.
look forward to next steps. Anything else that you want to add before we wrap up?
Yes, please. I do have one more slide. I
Okay.
just wanted to keep the commission posted because there are some steps coming up that might affect us perhaps needing to come back to you. I just wanted to make you aware. So once, now that you've approved the applications, We will now work with the relevant applicants to fully identify and remove any costs that would be deemed unallowable for federal grant funding. And as I said before, it's determined by the federal grant regulations and the US DOJ grants financial guide. Some of these adjustments would include recalculations due to errors in the budget detailed worksheet, removable of unallowable expenses, decreases to ensure adherence to BJA max cost thresholds. And then there's a lot of adjustments that have to be made considering indirect costs, because either their backup documentation doesn't back up the higher than de minimis of 15% that they had in their application, or they applied it to certain direct costs that are unallowable in the grant regs. So there's that. And we don't know how that's going to pan out. We do know we do know it'll be more or less, when I say it's a substantial, over 75,000 probably. So that's a substantial amount. We're also required to do pre-award organizational risk assessments of each application, and that's mandated by BJA. And I just wanted to mention that because these two steps will affect what goes to BJA. For instance, if a selected applicant is determined to be high risk for noncompliance, then we probably wouldn't want to necessarily go with that organization. Also, if budget adjustments results in a VPT or local less than 10K shortfall, or a substantial increase to the unallocated amount of the original 3.03 million, what we would want to do is we would want to work to select one of the next highest scored and eligible applications that are waitlisted to be presented to you for approval at a future meeting. So there might be a tier 2 to this, and I just wanted to make all of you aware of that.
Great. And what's the timeline for doing this additional vetting, and when do you hope to get the awards out the door?
That's a great question. We're hoping for 3 weeks to work with to finalize all of the budgets and scopes, and then also to have the risk assessments done as well. It could be done in as less than 2 weeks, but our goal is to get the GAM for the subawards submitted to BJA by June 1st. And then hopefully we're hoping a 4-week, might be a little bit short, 4 to 6 weeks, and then we'll be on track. That's, fingers crossed.
Okay, great. Thanks. All right. Any other questions for Danielle? All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You bet.
And I'm trying to get my screen. Yeah.
Sounds good. All right. Next up, we're going to hear from Kylie about the SCIP grant solicitation for 2026.
Yes, and let me go ahead and upload my presentation. Just give me one moment here. Let me know when you all can see it on your end. May just be another few moments.
It's up now.
Okay. Beautiful. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Chair Solomon and commissioners. My name is Kylie Russell, staff here at CJC, and I'm here to present the draft burn skip solicitation for your review and feedback. Today should be pretty straightforward, as there's no formal action that's needed from you all unless it's determined that additional criteria should be included in the draft document. The solicitation was included in your meeting materials, so you're welcome to reference that as we move throughout today's discussion. I'll go ahead and begin. I just want to highlight a few key details from the draft solicitation. So this will be a joint application across the 2 available burn skip awards, with just a little over $4.4 million available in total funding. The anticipated release date is May 22nd, with applications due by July 8th. We estimate that the project period will begin in January of 2027 and will end September 30th of 2028, which would result in a potential 21-month project period. The solicitation will be open to both private and public entities, including joint applications, with the stipulation that only one application per organization or UEI will be considered. And similar to JAG, SCIP also has federal pass-through requirements. So I know that we just reviewed those requirements for JAG during Danielle's presentation, but for SCIP, 40% of available funds must be passed through to local government entities and local less than $10,000 jurisdictions. These threshold amounts have already been set by BJA. So between these two categories, nearly $2 million must be passed through to local entities. These requirements are outlined in the solicitation and will be assessed and prioritized during the application review process, similar to JAG. So now just to touch on program priorities and program eligibility. So the information on the top section here should look familiar as it's drawn directly from the BJA approved program plans that we just reviewed last month. That language was used to define 3 program priority areas included in the solicitation, and applicants will be required to demonstrate how their proposals align with at least one of these priority areas in order to be considered for funding. So at a high level, the 3 priorities focus on supporting community violence intervention efforts, so that top bullet there, as well as trainings, information campaigns, evaluations, and/or coordination strategies that promote protection orders and/or secure storage practices. So those being the 3 program areas captured between those 2 bullet points there, again, just pulled from the program plan language. I also just want to briefly highlight the program eligibility note at the bottom of the slide here. So again, all proposed programs or initiatives must have a clear and direct connection to crisis intervention, with an emphasis on identifying risk and intervening before harm occurs. So we just want to emphasize this in the application and carry forward that message from BJA. Additionally, for law enforcement-led efforts, proposed activities must be a part of a broader crisis intervention approach, and applicants will be asked to address this in their application. Okay. So since this will be a competitive process, applicants will be asked to answer a series of questions which have been divided into categories that you see here on the slide and have also been outlined in the solicitation. So during the review process, applicants will be rated based on how effectively they address the required sections outlined here. So this will include their demonstrated need, proposed program design, organizational capacity, data and sustainability plan, as well as their budget requests. Applicants must adhere to all federal cost principles and will be assessed on allocability and overall allowability, again, adhering to those federal guidelines. Applicants will also be asked to submit several supporting documents as part of their overall application package, which have been outlined in the application requirement section of the solicitation. And again, similar to JAG, applicants that meet the pass-through requirements that we previously discussed will receive prioritization through the scoring process. So just want to highlight that again here. And I know that we've seen this now a few times at this point, but I bring it up again just to review the next series of steps before grant activities can actually begin. So the solicitation is expected to be released this month in May, with applications being due in July. The applicant review and risk assessment process will take place over the summer, with CJC staff bringing selection recommendations to the commission in September. Once the selection is made, notice of conditional approval will be sent out to those applicants. So that's just highlighted in the blue box, which is the new addition to this timeline. All conditionally approved applicants will then be routed to BJA for review and final approval, which we anticipate taking place during the fall months. And once approved by BJA, the subaward contracts will be executed in December, hopefully, with project activities estimated to begin in January of 2027. So again, this just lays out our long-term efforts and timeline goals for burn skip. And we recognize we have quite a few things ahead of us still, but we're really excited for the solicitation release, and it's going to kick off a lot of good things for us with skip. So that actually concludes the solicitation overview, and I'm happy to open it up for discussion or feedback. But before I turn it over to you, Chair Solomon, I have highlighted one point for consideration on whether the commission would like to set a minimum and maximum request amount for the application process. This approach was used during the JAG solicitation, so just not sure if we want to incorporate that same process for skip as well. I'm also open to receiving any other feedback comments that you all may have, so I'll go ahead and pause here and turn it over to you, Chair.
Great. Sorry. Kylie, I got pulled onto something else. I didn't catch the last part of your presentation, what you were asking of us. So if you wouldn't mind, for my benefit.
Of course. Yeah, no problem. So just one thing that I am proposing to the commission is whether we want to set a minimum or maximum request amount. So this is something that was incorporated during the JAG solicitation process. And I know that we actually just received updates on that from Danielle. So just not sure if we want to incorporate a similar process for skip. JAG, received a high number of applications, and I think setting that minimum and maximum request amount was helpful in the long run. So open to discussion and curious what your thoughts are.
Great. All right. Thoughts from commissioners about whether or not, Commissioner Norton, I see you have your hand up.
I just had a question, and maybe it's not appropriate for skip or JAG, but we've had these conversations before where people say what they're going to do, but when do we judge what they've said and whether they've done what they've said? I feel like, I don't know if there's a way, or again, if it's appropriate with this particular grant, but that we are thinking about the folks who are high performers, not just great grant writers. I mean, those two can be the same thing, right? But I'm wondering if there's a way, an allowance for that, or if it's even appropriate. And then, and just as far as a minimum and maximum, I think we should also do that. But that's kind of my question, or something I wanted to just bring up.
Yeah, and I appreciate your comment. And, this is a historical first for us here in Oregon, pushing out our very first skip solicitation. So unfortunately, we don't have a lot of historical context to be able to pull from in terms of grantee performance, but something that we have incorporated into the solicitation and something that the future grant review committee will assess is the proposal goals and objectives. So what is the organization or the applicant proposing, and what are the associated goals with that? Those goals will then be incorporated into the BJA performance measure tool and will be assessed using quarterly reporting in that sense as well. So it will be a first for us, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of lessons learned throughout this process, but we're trying to establish some sort of process within that and really trying to take in consideration of what are folks proposing and were they successful in their 21-month project period.
Okay, well, and I don't mean to mess up your rating scale, but I mean, if it doesn't have to be at least skip related, right? The question could be, give us an example of past efforts that have addressed these types of, I mean, I don't even know how wordy you want it, but, show us what you've done in the past and how you've successfully addressed the issue that we're talking about here. And again, maybe it's not appropriate because it's the first go around. I just feel like folks get left out of the process if they don't have an ACE grant writer on staff.
No, and I appreciate your comment, and that's something that we can definitely expand upon in our organizational capacity section of the application as well. So I have some questions already drafted on that, but I can take another look and just see if they might be able to be expanded in any way. So I appreciate your comment there, Commissioner.
All right.
And also, if others don't feel that way, step up and say something. I don't want to like be the one boss of this. Just, it's something to consider.
Commissioner Harris.
Yeah, no, I think your comments are great, and I think there's real value in that. I also agree that we should, I like the idea of minimums and maximum request amounts, although I would love some suggestions on what an appropriate for either of those might be, get just based on history and how we've done in the past.
Yes,
Yeah.
and so I'm happy to jump in, Chair, if you'd like on that. Again, not a lot of historical context to pull from. For
Right.
JAG, there was a minimum of $150,000 as like, again, a minimum request amount, and then a maximum of $400,000. So could establish something similar. Since we have a little bit more funding than JAG had available in their most recent solicitation, I could see the benefit of increasing that minimum and maximum request amount ever so slightly. But again, a little bit of a learning curve here, I think,